Welcome, guys. Welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. All right, my lovely viewers. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And today is day 2 of journey into DevOps with Frank. Yesterday, we talked about networking. All right, networking, where we did some justice around what's a network, types of network, and IP addressing, subnetting, OSI referencing model, TCP IP model, TCP and UDP. We saw their differences and a whole lot, right? And today we are going in a different route, something similar, all right, but a different platform entirely, all right? Something similar, but a different platform entirely, all right? So I assume, because I did share, what's it called? A link that talked about cloud computing, all right? So what's cloud computing? Cloud deployment model, cloud services model, all right? So it's not something I'm going to dwell much, because we need to move. We have a whole lot to cover, and if we are not disciplined on this journey, we might not be able to achieve our end goal. So yeah, so that's why I needed us to go and read what cloud computing is, cloud deployment model, cloud services model. And we even have more, because if I check tutorials points, cloud computing, all right. So if I check, so there are a whole lot, right? Deployment models, services models, all right? Perfect. So I don't need to go into all these things. Like I told us, you need to read and understand these things, all right? Great. So today I will be talking about a cloud provider called AWS. Cloud providers. Now, when we say cloud computing is a process of accessing a resource, a resource over the internet. A resource, like the resource could be a computer, a network, a storage, an image, etc. over the internet. When you access these things over the internet, you are performing what we call cloud computing. All right. Now, it's actually let me bring this guy down. So it's actually someone's hardware. Now, let's say hardware. All right. Now, in this hardware, we have computers. Oh, sorry, man. We have computers. Let me put it like this: PC. I have PC. I have storage. I have a network. I have what else could be virtualized? We have RAM. We have CPU, etc. All right. So these things are located somewhere. Now, you are somewhere here, the user, and you're trying to access each of these resources over the internet. Over the internet, via internet. Now, these things will come to you as virtual resources. These things will come to you as virtual resources. But in the real sense, this is someone's infrastructure. Somebody have set up this thing somewhere and decided to put these things on subscription level. All right? To put these things on subscription level and start providing services. And start providing what? Services. So these services are offered to you, the user, as virtual services. Virtual services. 1 minute, guys, please. 1 minute. All right. So as I said, so these resources will now be what? Shipped to the user as virtual resources. So if it is a PC, you have a virtual machine, a VM, all right? If it's storage, it becomes definitely virtual storage. If it's network, which you are going to do today, which is VPC, all right? Depending on the cloud provider, right? I'm just giving us a general overview, okay? Then RAM, CPU, those comes under instance type, all right? Instance type. So instance type comes side by side the capacity, all right? Capacity. So the capacity, let me not go further. Let me just keep it there. I'll come over there. All right. So this is just a general overview, general concept. Now, there are a lot of cloud providers. There are a lot of cloud providers. Copy this guy. So many. We have Azure from Microsoft, MS. We have AWS from Amazon. We have GCP from Google. We have DigitalOcean. We have OCI from Oracle. We have Alibaba. We have Volta. We have Huawei. I'm spelling Bizabi from Huawei. We have OpenStack from Red Hat, etc., etc. A lot, guys. These are different cloud providers. But the most common ones, let me bring it like this, are the Microsoft, Amazon, GCP, DigitalOcean is somewhere here, OCI somewhere here as well. right? But these are the most common ones, okay? Now, in this our class, we will be learning what AWS, Amazon Web Services. So these are the different cloud providers, okay? So to get started with AWS, we are going to go to the AWS. I know, let me go to Google. Let me check their official website. aws.amazon.com. All right. So their official website is on aws.amazon.com. So when you visit this website, all right, you can take up subscription. Before you start using a service from AWS, all right, you must create an account. You must sign up. Okay, you must sign up. So yeah, so this is what we have here. AWS free tier. Gain free hands-on experience with AWS platform, products, and services. So you learn more. Can create a free account, right? Types of offers. They offer free trials. They offer 12 months free and always free. These free tier the offers do not expire and are available to all AWS command. Always free. So if you need this other one, don't go for this free trial. This free trial will end like 3 months. You could see now, it's called a short-term free trial offer. Start from the date you activate a particular service. Now the 12 months, enjoy these offers for 12 months following your initial sign-up date to AWS. Then they're always free. These free tier offers do not expire and are available to all AWS customers. So on the free tier, this is what you get. All right, for 12 months, you get a lot of things. All right, so if it's 12 months or always free, you go for it. So better still, you want to go for 12 months. So you click 12 months and why is it taking me here? All right, so these are things. So we'll go sign up page now. Sign up for a free AWS account. Sign up, all right? So we're gonna get started. So you sign up and blah, 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 blah. The rest will become, can create a root account. You give your email address, put your email address, you click on next, 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 next. Oh, sorry, this is to create new AWS account. All right, then you follow the entire process. The root user, you give it a name, email address, account name, you verify, and it's just a simple process, all right? But at the end of this process, you're going to get a page that asks for what's it called? Your data, sorry, your payment details, right? So they're not going to collect anything from your accounts, just $1, right? $1 is sufficient, right? And yeah, it's just straightforward. Okay, great. So we won't be going into that much. That's just a sign up process. So if you've not signed up, please try and sign up so that you practice along with us. So I have an account. Let me open my own account and so that we can do an introduction to the AWS dashboard. We can do a proper okay. All right, so I'm not the root user. All right, I'm not the root user, so I'm just an IAM user. So we are coming. When we get to IAM, we shall explain some certain things that we need to understand, we need to know. Okay, so this is just a user I created from a different account. All right, a different account. So I'm not the root user. So that's it. Now, so this is the AWS dashboard. So let me start from the top. On here, I have the console home. It's called the console home. So you can always click on this guy. It will always bring you back here. It will always bring you back here. All right. So it's called the console home. Okay. Great. This guy will always bring you back to this page. Now, services, if you want to see the number of services that AWS offers, you can click services. You see different services. All right. In analytics, in application integration, in cost management, in blockchain, in business applications, in compute, in containers. Let's go to networking. In networking and content delivery, so in quantum technologies, let me see. Now, if you click here, by your right-hand side, you will see the pop-up. You have for networking and delivery content, we have API gateway, we have AWS app merge, cloud app, cloud front, direct connect, global accelerator, private 5G, scale private mobile networks on premise, Route 53, application recovery controller, and VPC, right? VPC, quantum technologies, Amazon brackets, and a whole lot. Robotics, satellites, storage. On that storage, we have AWS backup, EFS manages and submits backups across AWS services. EFS, AWS Elastic Discovery, disaster recovery, FSX, S3, S3 Glacier, storage gateway, and a whole lot of services. If you come to compute, you have them here. You have App Runner. Now, when I say compute means it's going to create a virtual machine for you. App Runner, Batch, EC2, EC2 Image Builder, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, Lightsail, AWS Outpost, Serverless Application Repository, AWS SimSpace Weaver, and a whole lot, guys. Databases, you have them. So these are the different services, all right? So we are moving. Now, this is a search bar. So if I need to search for a service, because I already know the name of the service, I can just come here and say, okay, I need to search for DynamoDB. And I will see it here. All right. I'll click on it. It will open the page for what? For DynamoDB. If I need to search for VPC, I'll type VPC. I'll see the service name. I'll click on it. Then I will see what? The VPC page. All right. So this bar is what? The search bar. So with this search bar, you can search for any AWS services in as much as you know the name of the service. All right. You know the name of the service. So let's go back to our console home. So back to the console home. Now, this guy is called the Cloud Shell. The Cloud Shell means I can run some shell commands, right? When I say shell commands, this is a shell. What I have here, right? Running Linux commands, some Linux commands is shell, all right? So I can do similar thing with this guy here. So if I click on this guy, I've clicked to just watch. So it's trying to create the environment, all right? It's creating the environment, loading Cloud Shell, preparing your terminal, and it's done. All right, you can see now it has prepared my terminal. So I can interact with all my AWS services in here, right? I can say AWS S3 list to list the number of AWS S3 LS. So it will list the number of buckets that I have. Currently, I have these S3 buckets. AWS EC2. Let me see something. All right. So all right. So with this Cloud Shell, you can interact with your AWS services directly. I don't need to authenticate. But if I were to work from outside of AWS, before I can interact with my AWS services, all right, I need to authenticate gradually, one step at a time. I'm coming there, all right? I'm just only telling us we need to authenticate with a tool called AWS CLI. AWS CLI. Let me not digress. Let me pause it there. Let's continue. All right. So this is Cloud Shell. All right. Cloud Shell. But a lot of the time, you wouldn't be using a Cloud Shell. All right. You just want to use to work externally from a remote position. All right. You just need to authenticate your AWS account and you start working with AWS services. All right. So I just needed to show us what a Cloud Shell is all about. So I'm done. I'll close it here. Great. Now the next one is notification. Normally, if you need to, if it's just about your account. Is there any open issues, any schedule changes, other notification? It just tells you about notification, all right? That is bell icon. Now the next icon is the help, all right? Do you need support? If you need to create support, if you click on this guy now, if you click on this guy, if you can take it to what? Support center, where you can create a support ticket. You can create a support ticket for support engineers. Now, training, documentation, if you need different documentation. So let's say if I need a documentation, all right, I'll go there. Then I'll now look for a service. Let me say a VPC. Do I have a VPC here? Amazon VPC. Click on Amazon VPC. Then I can look at user guide, traffic monitoring, peering guide, Amazon VPC. So let me go to user guide. Let's look at, okay, user guide. Create and configure your virtual private cloud. Okay, user guide. All right. So this page, what is Amazon VPC? It tells you about what? The Amazon VPC. All right. What it is and everything. You can also see IP addressing. Tells you about IP addressing, subnet seeder, VPC seeder. All right. A lot. Subnets, right? Create a subnet, configure your subnet seeder reservation, route table, etc., etc. Connect your VPC, all right? Monitoring, security, and a whole lot, all right? So that is how, if you need to get documentation, you can always come this place and go to what? Documentation, all right? Great. Now, the next icon there is what we call AWS region. All right. There are different AWS region here. Okay. There are a lot of AWS region that are specific to our area. Now, I am working with EU West, right, which is the Europe Island region, because Ireland is closer to me, and most of my resources are there. So you can only work with the region that is closer to your services, that is closer to you. You can't be in Lagos and you are using EU West 1, America. America is far from Lagos. So it means that your customers could have latency, delay when they try to use your application that are hosted on AWS. All right. So the best bet, all right, is to host your application to a region that is closer to you, that is closer to your customers, so that your customers will access your application with ease and very quickly, right? So the idea of these regions is to avoid redundancy, delay, right? Delay in customers trying to access your application that are hosted on AWS. That's the idea of this region, okay? Of this region. So we will see this region more. Okay. Again, when you choose a region, it means that whatsoever you create, whatever service that you create will be in what? In this region. In this region. So if you switch region, you won't see those services. So every service is peculiar to a region. Now, for instance, let me go to EC2 instance. Let me show you something. Instances. Now, in this region, island region, I have what? I have 3 EC2 instances. Now, if I switch region to EU West 2, still under EC2, you can see I don't have any what? Any resources, because those resources were not created inside of this what? Of the London region. All right, so they were created somewhere else, which is the island region. So until I come here and switch region back to island, then I will see my what? My resources. So resources that you create are tied. They are tied to a region. Everything that you do is tied to a region. Okay, take note, guys, because you will come now tomorrow. You created this thing now. You're not seeing it. Note, your region may have changed. Always look up here. Where did you create those resources in? Is very key. Now, the next part here is, let's go back to console home. So next one is your account. All right. So here's my account ID, my I am user, account, organization, service quota, billing dashboard, security credentials, settings, etc., etc. You want to log out, you come here and click on what? Log out. So that's about those top level icons, all right, on the dashboard. So here we have recently visited services. So I recently visited EC2. That's why you see EC2 is at the top. I visited DynamoDB before I visited VPC. So that's why you see DynamoDB at the top, and so on and so forth. So on my right-hand side here, you can also get a quick help. Getting started with what? AWS. Can click this guy to open a new page, right? So you see it's still documentation. You see different documentation, all right? So let's go back. Training and certification, what's new with AWS, etc., etc. So this part tells me about my AWS health. If there are issues, schedule changes, any notification, there are none. I also have my cost usage. It's telling me that my current bill for the month is $25, and it's forecasting that at the end of the month, I should have spent $95. And last month, I actually spent $104. All right. So this is the breakdown, okay, per services, dollar per services. Top cost for current month. The EC2 is eating more money. Tax is eating this money. AWS key management, $0. The rest are $0. You scroll down, build solutions, you see a lot of things, etc., etc. All right, great. So we want to get started. Before we get started, is there any question? Is there any question? Fine, there is no question. So we want to get started with what? VPC. To use VPC, I'll come to my search bar and I'll type what? VPC. So once I type VPC, I'll click on what? The service name, VPC. So what is a VPC? So VPC, as the name implies, is called virtual private cloud. So VPC is AWS service for networking. Boom, no go talk plenty story. They will ask you, what is VPC? VPC is virtual private cloud, and VPC is an AWS service for implementing networking, for implementing networking. Short story, no talk plenty, short story, don't end. Now, let's now go to what we have here. So I will be copying these guys back and forth. Copy, keep it side by side, paste. All right. So that we've seen what the VPC is and how to create a VPC. Simple, guys. So we'll go to AWS console. All right. Click on what? Create VPC. So on my left-hand side, let's look at the left-hand side. Let me collapse this guy. Collapse, 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 collapse. Yes, I'll see everything. Now, VPC, right? There's VPC, security, DNS firewall, network firewall, VPN, verified access, transit gateway, traffic monitoring, VPC lattice. All right. So let's look at what virtual private cloud. So open this guy. Only that, guys. You can see it's from just here. Your VPC, your subnets, routables, internet gateway, egress only internet gateway, DHCP options, elastic IP, managed prefix list, endpoints, endpoint services, NAT gateway, peering connection. So let's see how far we can go. All right, so click on your VPC. So once you click on VPC, you will see what other VPCs that are already there. Click on what? Create VPC. Create VPC. Now, I want to create VPC. There are two ways of creating VPC, the manual way and the automated way. I'm going to show us the manual way, then we are going to go to the automated way later, all right? After we have done the manual way. Okay, let me do something. Now, a VPC has a stack. It has a complete stack. So in that stack, we have things like VPC. We have a subnet, a VPC, a subnet. We have a route table. We have an internet gateway. Now, in between subnet, you are creating the subnets inside this VPC. So all of these guys are connected to this VPC. All of these guys are connected to the what? To the VPC. So this is a complete network stack. Now, the subnet must be associated with a route table. The subnet must be associated with a route table. A route table defines a route to destination. That's what a route table is. A route table defines a route to a destination. So in between subnet and route table, we will have an association. We call it a subnet association. We'll do all of these. I'm just trying to explain this thing. Now, between a route table and an internet gateway, you also need to have a what? A route table association. Copy, keep it here. A route table association, right? So the route table association is common between route table and internet gateway. A subnet association is common between a subnet and a route table, right? So, and here is the flow. The flow is from top to bottom, top to bottom. Now let's see how I can start creating these things. Now come over here. I want to create this thing manually. I want to start creating from a VPC. From VPC, I'll create a subnet. From the subnet, I'll create a routable. From the routable, I'll create the internet gateway. So once I'm done with all of these, I'll now start creating the association, because without the association, the subnet will not be able to have an internet. All right. The routable will not be able to have internet. So that is the usefulness of the association, right? Because this internet gateway has internet access. So if you want to give your network devices an internet access, want to expose them to the internet, then you need to associate with the internet gateway. Come over here. Now VPC only and VPC and more. So the VPC and more is automated, while the VPC only is just manual. So let's start with what the VPC only. So I'll give it a name. Let's call it cohort 3. Cohort 3 VPC. Cohort 3 VPC. Now, the IPv4 CEDAR block. CEDAR block is interdomain routing. Is it countless? Wait, let me check the acronym for that CEDAR. Classless, yes. CEDAR block. Classless, sorry guys. Classless interdomain routing. That's what that CEDAR is. CEDAR is classless all right, domain routing. Don't think man check within that in me. CEDAR, all right. Classless interdomain routing is an IP address allocation method that improves data routing efficiency on the internet. And no wala. All right, no wala. Let's come back here. Let me show something now. Now you always hear the word CEDAR. CEDAR means the network address, the umbrella address. All right. Okay. So the umbrella address, the IP address that defines the network stack. CEDAR, it is the IP address that defines the networking stack. All right. It will make more sense if you also look at a proper, right, understanding of the CEDAR. Classless interdomain routing is a method for allocating Wikipedia. Is a method of assigning IP addresses that improves the shorts for this is based on class A. Class interdomain is a method of an IP routing that allows for more efficient use of IP addresses. All right. More I think that's the definition. More efficient use of IP addresses. More efficient use of IP addresses. So let's come back here now. Now, guys, watch me. The CEDAR of my VPC, I can take from any class. Let me look at what I have. So that I don't overlap. So I have 10 already. So let me create 15. All right. Let me create 15. So I can still pick. I'm picking from class A, 15.0.0.0/16. Now, there's something called /bit notation. All right. I couldn't treat it yesterday. It's still /bit notation. But I hope you read from those links I sent you. Now, /16. /16 means the subnet mask. That's what that thing means. /16. Subnet mask. So the subnet mask of this address will be 255.255.0.0. I'm taking what? /16. So this is my CEDAR block. All right. So this is my CEDAR block. Now, IPv6 CEDAR block. I don't need IPv6. No IPv6 CEDAR block, right? If you want to specify it, maybe you can set it up here, all right? But since we're not using IPv6, we say what? No IP. By default, is no IPv6. The tenancy is more, a lot of the time is default. You keep it at what? Default. Now, this is the tag. Tagging is a process of identification. It's used to identify resources, all right? So the name is what? CH Core 3 VPC, all right? Great. We are all through, guys. So simple to create a VPC, right? The CEDAR block. Finally, I can say what? Create. Now, if I go to VPC, you can see that I have my what? This guy created. So far, there is nothing inside of this guy. There is no network, there's no subnet, there's no route table. This guy is just empty, right? So I want to create subnet. So I'm through from a whiteboard. I'm done with what VPC. So the next object is to what? Is to create a subnet. Let me close this guy. So I'll come over here. I'll go to what? Subnet. So I'll click on what? Create subnet. Now I need to specify the VPC that subnet will belong to. The subnet needs to belong to a VPC, to a virtual private cloud. So I come here, select the VPC. The VPC is what? CH3 VPC. And the CEDAR of that guy is this. All right. So it's going to be associated with what? This guy. All right. The subnet, CH3 sub 1. It's just naming convention. You can name it anything, but name it with a name that looks meaningful. All right, that makes sense. Scroll. Now, there's a concept called availability zone. Let's go back to our whiteboard. Every region has availability zones. Note, every AWS region has an availability zone. Availability zone looks like, it's like an area. AZ, in short, AZ, looks like an area. I'll give you an example. Example, we have Lagos. We have a region, Lagos region. We have the Lagos region. In this Lagos region, we have different areas. We have Shomolu. We have Bagada. Then we now have Maryland. Guys, listen up. Shomolu, Bagada, Maryland, they are areas and they are availability zones. So it means that if I'm going to deploy a resource in Lagos region, guys, listen up. If I'm going to deploy a resource in Lagos region, I need to select either Shomolu, Bagada, or Maryland as my availability zone. By default, every region comes with their corresponding availability zone. In Ireland, they have about 3 availability zones. There are some regions that has 6 availability zones from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 6. Some regions has 3 availability zones. Now, all right. Now, this Shomolu could be Lagos. If we have one data center, Lagos 1A. Shomolu, Lagos 1A. So this guy also will be Lagos 1B. And Maryland will be Lagos 1C. So it now implies that if I'm creating a VPC, I can either place the VPC in Lagos 1A or Lagos 1B or Lagos 1C. These are availability zones. And this is what? A region. Now, what is the idea of availability zone? What does it solve? An availability zone solves the problem of redundancy. It solves the problem of redundancy. I have my app. Guys, listen. Now, it means that if I deploy this app in availability zone Lagos 1A, if anything should happen to this, if anything, as a color, should happen to Shomolu, should anything happen to this availability zone, it means that this my app is going to go down with that availability zone. This availability zone is not available. So my app was deployed to this availability zone. So it means that my app is going to shut down. So customers trying to access my app will not be able to access my app. They'll be seeing 404, resource not available, because the region where the availability zone where my app is hosted is down currently. Now, to avoid the issue of blackouts, unaccessible application, I will want to what? Deploy my app in what? In multiple availability zones, so that if anything should happen to what? This Shomolu availability zone, it means that I still have a copy of that application running in Lagos 1B. Lagos 1B. Now, what if the entire region goes down? What if the entire region goes down, the entire Lagos region goes down? It means that my app, even if I have 3 of this guy, my app is definitely what? Going to go down, because the availability zones, they are inside of what? The Lagos region. And Lagos region is down. So it implies that my app is going to go down. To set up high availability, thank you, guys. Listen, HA is called HA, high availability. To achieve high availability on AWS, AWS recommend that you create your app in what? More than one region. So I have this one region. I'm going to have my app on another region. Let's call this region, let's say Port Harcourt. Let me call it PHC. So it means that I have a replica of this app in the Port Harcourt region. So for high availability, if one region that has my app goes down, I have the second region to serve my customers. I have the second region to serve my customers. This is how high availability is achievable on AWS. They will always ask you this question in the interview. What is high availability? High availability is a concept of making a resource to be always available. Oh, Father. HA is a concept that is used to make a resource, right? A resource to be always available. Your resource will always be available. That's what high availability. Now, they will not ask you, how do you achieve high availability? You achieve this archive. You achieve high availability. You achieve high availability by creating your resources in more than one region. You achieve high availability by creating your resources in more than one region. How do you achieve high availability? You achieve high availability by creating your resources in what? In more than one region. All right. So you can see, so we are going back to VPC because it was at this point when we wanted to choose a availability zone. I see it necessary that I need to talk about what an availability zone is. Before I continue, is there any question, guys? Is there any confusion, something I need to clarify about the AZ? All right, no voila. Now, let's go back to our VPC. I need to choose an AZ, all right? In island zone, I have just 3 AZ. EU West 1. EU West 1 is my region, sorry, island region. You can see it if I come here, island. You can see EU what? West 1. So the availability zone, they are now divided 1A, 1B, and 1C. 1A, 1B, 1C. So depending on anyhow I want to do it. So I can say, okay, let me deploy subnet 1 in 1A. Now, I need to create the CIDR block, CIDR, for my subnet. So the CIDR block I need to create has to be contained in my VPC CIDR block. So whatever I create here, it has to be contained in this guy, in this range. It has to be in this range. So I want to start picking from 15.0. I will say 1.0. That's my first subnet /24. All right. So this is what will happen here. I'll say 15.0.1.0. So I want to start counting from 1.0. I can as well start counting from here. 1.0.0. If I do it like this, I'm going to have lots of addresses. All right. So it's going to be changing. I'm going to have a lot of addresses. So I just want to keep it simple. Okay. I just want to keep it simple. 0.1.0/24. That's my what? First subnet. The name is this. That's all. I click on what? Create subnet. So I've created this subnet, and this subnet belongs to what? That VPC. So you can see this subnet. This is subnet name, and here is a subnet ID. Every resource that you create has an ID in AWS. Every resource that you create has an ID. The state is available. The VPC, that is the VPC ID. Then here is the what? The CIDR of the subnet. Now, this is the available IP addresses. So in this CIDR block, I'm going to have 251 valid IP addresses. 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, till I get to what? 1.255. So once I get to 1.255, that octet is already filled up. So it will spill into the second octet. I'm now have 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, until this guy becomes what? This guy becomes 255. 255.255. It will now spill. I now have 15.1.0.0.0, 15.1.0.1, 0.2, 0.3. That's the process, man. All right? But we are keeping it simple. Now scroll. Now the availability zone is what? EU West 1A. Availability zone ID is already giving me a default routable, but it's going to change. We're going to change this routable. Network address, net NACL, etc., etc. Let's go back. Now I need to create other words, subnets. Create subnets under the same VPC, CH3 VPC. The subnet will be CH3-sub2. Availability zone, I took 1A, I want to take 1B. My CIDR block will be 15.0.2.0. Remember, I've taken 1.0/24. Then I need to add, I can add everything at the same time. Add another one. Come over here. CH what? 3-sub waiting. Okay, C3. C3 sub waiting, sub 3, right? Sub 3, okay. CH3 sub 3. Availability zone 1C. CIDR block 15.0.1, sorry, .3.0/ 24. Click on what? Create subnet. I have created these subnets. All right. So these are my what? Subnets. This guy, and this guy. Good. Let's go back to our whiteboard. So where are we? We've created subnet. Now we need to create what? A route table, right? In most organizations, you want to create like 3 private subnets and 3 public subnets. So the public subnets would be assigned what's it called? A public routable, while the private subnets will be assigned a private routable. Okay, so let's finish what we need to finish first. Then I need to create a routable. Click on what? Route table. A routable logs routes, source and destination, right? It logs routes. Now create routable. The name of the routable, CH3 ROT. CH3 what? ROT. Now I need to attach, this routable must belong to a VPC. I'll select my VPC, CH3 VPC. Create routable. Simple. That's a routable. All right. CH3 ROT. Let's come back to our whiteboard. So the last one is what? Internet gateway. Come over here. Come to what? Internet gateway. Click on what? Create internet gateway. Give it a name. CH3 IGW. CH3 IGW. That's the name. Click on what? Create internet gateway. Now, in as much as we have created internet gateway, we need to attach the internet gateway to a VPC. You can see here, it is showing me what? Attached to a VPC. I can also come to actions and click on what? Attached to a what? VPC. So far, this guy is on its own. It's not attached. So if I come to internet gateways, let's come there. You can see this guy is not attached. The status is what? Detached. These other guys are already attached, but my own status is showing what? Detached. So I need to attach it. So select it, come to actions and click on what? Attach to what? VPC. Once you click on attach to VPC, you come over here and click that space, you will see your VPC. CH3 what? VPC. Click on it and click on what? Attach internet gateway. Click on this guy. So once that is done, we'll go back to what? Internet gateway. We will see that this guy has been what? Has been what? Attached. So far, we've seen how to create a VPC. We created a subnet. We created a routable and created an internet gateway. Now we need to link the routable to the internet gateway and the subnet to the routable. So let's start with what? Subnet association. So come back over here. Come to subnet. CO. CH3. CH3. You can, once you click on it, you can come to what? Actions. Once you come to actions, you can always see edit route table association, right? But I wouldn't want to do it from here. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing as when I come here. I can come here. So once I click on it, I'll come to what? Route table. Click on route table. Now see what? Edit route table association. You can see they are the same thing. Edit route table association. I just wanted to show us the process. Right? Now click on what? Edit route table association. Now that subnet, I want to associate that subnet towards this route table, CH3 route table. Before it was associated to a default route table. This is a default route table. So I don't want this guy. I want it to associate with my what? The route table that I created. So click on it. That's it. Click on save. I have done that level of association. So if I click on this guy now, I check route table, right? You can see now, it's now associated. Here's the route table ID is associated. Now I'll do similar thing towards sub 1 and sub 2. I'll take it from here, edit route table association. I'll select my route table. I'll click on what? Save. Sub 2, the final one. Come here, edit route table association. Come here, this guy, save. Now, if I go to route tables now, see you. Where's our route table? These are route tables, CH3 RT. Let's look at for what? Subnet associations. If I click on subnet association, we are going to see all the subnet that are associated with this route table. So you can see sub 1, sub 2, and sub 3 is already associated with what? This route table. So we are good to go. Now, come back to our whiteboard. We've done what? We've linked our subnet with our route table. Now we need to link the internet gateway to the route table. So we need to provide an internet access to the route table. So the moment we provide internet access to the route table, it's explicitly means that the subnets that are associated with this route table automatically they will have an internet access. That's what it's going to mean. That's what it means. All right. So now we need to associate the route table toward the internet gateway. So let's come back here now. So on my route table, I'll click on what? Routes. Once I click on routes, I'll click on what? Edit route. Once I click on edit route, I'll click on what? Add route. So the destination, because it is an internet, so internet always has this destination. 0.0.0.0/0. This notation means anywhere, global. That's what this notation means. All right. Let's look at that notation from the browser. Let's look here. 0.0.0.0/0. Now, this CIDR notation defines an IP block containing all possible IP addresses. It's commonly used in routing to depict the default route. All right. What is the address range for blah 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 blah? Same thing. All right. So whenever you put it contains all IP addresses. So it means that we are giving access to all IP addresses. That's what this guy means. All right. Now the target is always an internet gateway. So if I come here, my target will be what? Internet gateway. So once I click on internet gateway, I should see the internet gateway that we created. I'll click on it. And I'll click on what? Save. With this, you can see now, this guy now has what? This route table has 000 internet gateway. So this route table has internet access. So if I go to the subnet now, see, if I go to subnet, this guy, if I check route table, I will see that 0000 from internet gateway. You can see now. The internet gateway automatically has already been attached to what? Even the subnet. So all my subnet now, because they are associated with the route table that is associated with the internet gateway, they now have internet access. So with this flow, we have created a networking stack, a basic, a fundamental networking stack that you can use to assign to any service in AWS. Right? We have created our network. Okay? We've created our network. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to take it chunk by chunk. All right? I'm not going to rush you guys so that it will be easier for you to swallow. This thing I've done today, to be easier to swallow. I won't take it further. What I will do, I will want to treat the automatic method. All right? I'll treat the automatic words method. So when we come tomorrow, we're going to look at other VPC endpoints, NAT gateway, and peering connections. Security group, and what else? Yeah. No wala. I'll take it chunk by chunk so that you can swallow. That was creating a VPC stack, a networking stack, manually. You can see we've almost covered this first session. Subnet in VPC, what's routable, create a routable, what's subnet, associate the subnet to routable, etc., etc. So you can see we've ended with what? Internet gateway. When we meet tomorrow, we shall look at what? VPC endpoints, how to create VPC endpoints, associate VPC endpoints to routable, and what VPC endpoints are. Same thing, VPC pairing, etc., etc. Let's go back to this place now. Now, I want to delete these guys. I want to delete everything. To delete, I have to start from bottom top. To create, I create from what? Top to bottom. To delete, I have to start from bottom, top. To delete. All right? To create, to delete. This is to create. This is to create. And this to what? Delete. Bottom top, I'll first of all go to what? Internet gateway. Where are you? Internet gateway. This guy. I'll detach it. You can see I can't delete it directly. You have to detach before you can delete. So you detach it first. Are you sure? Yes. Detach. It has been detached. Now I can delete. Come over here. Delete internet gateway. Are you sure? Yes. Delete. Delete. It's been deleted. I'll come to route table. I have what? This route table. Check routes. It's a black hole because it has been deleted. I'll come to actions. I'll click on what? Delete route table. Delete. It's telling me that I cannot delete this route table because the following route tables contain one or more associated subnets or edge associations. It means that I have to delete those subnets first, right? No wahala. Come to subnets. Chai 3. Action. Delete subnets. It will go. Delete. Delete. It's gone. Chai 1, chai 2. Subnets. Delete. 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 Now I can go and delete the route table. Route table. This guy. Come here, because you can see there are no association. It's empty now. Route table, it will soon go, no wahala. Come here. Delete route table. It's not coming up now. Delete. Delete. Finally, VPC. Chai VPC. Action. Delete. 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 So we've cleared everything, guys. Everything that we created, we've cleared it. So as a point of warning, guys, please, anything you create on your accounts, make sure you delete them. Because if you don't delete them, AWS is going to charge you. AWS, they're out for business. They will charge you. In as much as it is a free account, it doesn't matter. They will charge you. So anything you do, wipe it off, clear it. Now, let's see how we can create the same network stack automatically without getting to do all these things one after the other. So I'll come here, I'll click on create VPC. Guys, 1 second, please. 1 second, let me, all right. So when we went the manual routes, we use VPC only. So now we're not going to go through this route. Rather, we're going to go towards VPC and more. So select this option. So once you select this option, you're going to see other options, all right? So now, the name of the VPC is going to be auto-generated. I don't want it to be auto-generated. I want to give it a name. So uncheck this box, all right? Then this space will go blank. Now come over here. Give it a name, CH3 VPC. That's the name. Subnets. How many subnets do I need? I need 3 subnets. I'm only having 1, 2. So I'll come over here and then I'll say number of availability zones. I need 3 AZ. You can see now I'm not having 3. If I need 1, it will reduce. If I need 2, add. If I need 3, that's it. Number of public subnets. I will need 3 public subnets. Number of private subnets. You can see in each availability zone, there's public, there's private. There's public, there's private. There's public, there's private. So I want to control it from here. I don't want any private subnet. You can see I now only have public subnets. You can control it. If you don't want any public subnet, say 0. You want private subnet. You only have private subnet. All right. So I don't want any private subnets. I want public subnets. All right. So that's how you control them. I think that's all. The next thing I need to do now is to set my VPC CIDR block. So my VPC CIDR block is going to be 15.0 .0.0.0/16. That's okay. Now, see the name now, VPC is this. The subnet, give it a name. It has to be chai3 sub 1. Copy. Chai3 sub 2. Chai3 sub 3. Route table, I just want only one route table. Chai3 RT. Internet gateway. Chai3 IGW. That's all, guys. That's all. So scroll, and click on what? Create VPC. So once you click on create VPC, it's going to automatically create these things, and it's going to automatically perform the association for you. Done. View your VPC. VPC. Yes, my VPC. View your subnets. View your subnets. These are my subnets. 1, 2, 3. Check the route table. Everything has been set for you. You can see. Route tables. Chai3. Check the routes. Internet gateway is there already. Check subnet association. You already have these guys. Check your internet gateway. This guy is already attached for you. So you don't need to do all those attachments, right? But the manual method is always nice because it will teach you the process. It will show you the process on how to go about this whole thing, all right? So that's that for VPC, guys, all right? Let's look at our whiteboard. So that's that for VPC. So when we come tomorrow, being Sunday, all right? Remember our time, oh, remember our time. When we come tomorrow, being Sunday, we shall what? Start with what? VPC endpoints, right? I'll give us something to read, very short something, maybe plenty something. What's VPC endpoints? VPC peering? What is it all about? Transit gateway? You need to know them. You need to know them because they will always ask you these 3 guys in an interview. All right. So at this juncture, let me delete everything. I can go directly from my VPC, but most times it will throw up an error. So if I delete this VPC, it means that all of these things will get deleted. The subnet, the route table, the internet gateway, everything will go off. So I come here, action, delete. All right, let's see what happens if it will allow me. Okay, it's allowing me to delete. So it means that internet gateway is going to delete. Route table, the subnets, they're all going to what? To be deleted. So I can come here and say delete to confirm. Delete. So it deletes every damn thing. They're all deleted. If I check, there's no VPC. Where did they come? Optimus. I check subnets. They are all gone. Ogbeni. Refresh. All right. They are all gone. Route table. Refresh. It's gone. Internet gateway is already gone, right? So that's that, guys. So someone hand was up. All right, Flo. Yeah.
Thanks, Frank. So the reason I just want to know if the reason why you were able to delete them one hand is because you created them automatically. Because when you try deleting the VPC initially, when you created it manually, you were unable to, do it at a go. Is it because you created it?
No, that was the route. That was routable. That was routable.
Oh, routable. Okay,
yeah,
so
that was routable. Yeah. So I didn't try it. When you do your practice, try it.
All right.
When you practice, try it.
All right. Thanks.
The $1 for the is it a one-off? Now one-off. Now is a one-off. But when the moment you start using those resources, if you don't delete them, they'll start charging you. It's a one-off. And I get someone to help with the payment since I do not have $1. No, you can use a GTB MasterCard. Chigozie. Chigozie was there now. She don't come out. Here she go. You are muted though. On mute to speak. Bro. You go fine though. All right. So guys, this is a warning. Please. You need to have your AWS account to really do well, because you need to be practicing. We don't start though. All right. As we do now like this, we don't start. So never you allow this my teaching to compound. If my teaching compounds, it will be difficult for you, my brother. We never start this journey. Somebody see, okay, mute please. Mute for now. They get me? Because things go plenty. Things go plenty. You'll be overloaded. So while we are moving.
Hi Frank, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't notice I was
later. It was the card thing, about the card thing. Once I finish, don't worry. So once I start, you got to follow me. As I finish now, you guys go practice. Make it do your head. Let me say you say procrastinate. I go do them. I like you go forget. You go forget them. All right. So please set up your account. Someone help me pay and I transfer the Naira, bro. I know you can always find someone in your area that has that. Okay. So any other question, guys? Let me stop the recording.